Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who FA commentary video. Today I'm looking at the second part of my 2016 Doctor Who at Casualty crossover, which is titled The Dalek Invasion of Holby. Now I'm not going to be looking at the original version of this episode, I'm going to be looking at the version I remastered in 2019, because I feel like there's more I can say about that. So let's get straight into it. This BBC One ident was quite a late addition. I hadn't really intended to do it originally, but I thought there was something that felt a bit missing, so I added it in.
Previously on Casualty.
The TARDIS is
So this episode is styled in the same way as a 2019 episode of Casualty is. So it's got all the right music, it's got the Casualty opening titles, it's got, well, it's almost entirely Casualty soundtrack as well, apart from a few Doctor Who tracks thrown in there, mainly the Doctor's theme.
I'm sorry. Time of death, 1437. Please, just come back.
Now you can see how much of an improvement the newly filmed scenes are on the originals.
I'm sorry.
Because there's no cutting out, there's no Photoshop involved. I printed those backgrounds and filmed the characters in front of them. And it does wonders for the episode. It really, really helps. The only bits I didn't refilm for this episode are all the scenes on the Dalek ship, because they were an actual set anyway, so I didn't feel like I needed to refilm them because they look decent enough anyway, and otherwise I'd have basically been remaking the entire episode and not just remastering the dodgy bits. And then we have the Casualty titles, which I'll probably have had to have blurred out for copyright, because it was a nightmare trying to get this episode up with the Casualty titles, because they kept getting copyright claimed. I don't know how I managed it in the end, but I'm not doing it again, I'm just going to blur them. So all of this is newly refilmed. I even took away the title, so where it comes up down there saying written by, that's how Casualty is now. It doesn't have episode titles, so it just says written by, whereas the original had The Dalek Invasion of Holby written by. So I wanted to make this feel like a current episode of Casualty, even though there's characters in it that aren't currently in Casualty. It felt more right to do it like that. Because I was always very keen with the two parts to have the first one feel much more like a Doctor Who episode and the second one feel much more like a Casualty episode, despite the fact that in theory they should be opposites. So the Doctor Who episode is much more character grounded, whereas the Casualty episode is much more sci-fi.
Where's the man that was with her? I need to talk to him. He left a while ago. Oh, hello.
I think the Casualty music works for quite a lot of this episode, to be honest. I was quite careful in what I chose to use. Like this, I think, undertones it quite nicely in a very sort of Akinola way.
Associate.
More to the point, why did you abduct me?
You are the Doctor. You do not travel alone.
And obviously when I made this, I was obviously going to use the Paradigm Daleks back in 2016, and I still love the Paradigm Daleks. It's a crime that we never saw them again after Asylum, so it was important to me to have a nice mix, like The Magician's Apprentice, but to also include the Paradigm Daleks.
Because I've just lost someone very, very dear to me, so right now I am so close to the end.
That's quite a nice shot through the eye stalk.
For the experiment.
Experiment? What does that mean?
We get Missy's theme, so that's one of the tracks that is obviously taken directly from Doctor Who.
Do I know you? Better than you
but
might
it's
think.
overlaid
I said we'd
in a
begin
weird
soon.
way over the top of the Casualty
Here I
one.
am.
No.
We will meet again, Doctor. Soon.
You can't.
And there's flashback to Countdowns to Death,
Did we do
where
everything we could?
we last saw the Mail
Have done
Master.
any more?
You did everything you could. Nobody could have asked any more of you. Get somebody sent up to the
These
morgue
scenes
and
just,
get cleaned
they do look so much better.
Thanks. Can you make sure we try and track
Because I was
down
able
the
to
man,
light
please?
them in the way I
Tell him we
wanted,
need someone to collect those
and then it
things.
meant I could colour grade them properly. It works, it really does.
You will enter the chamber. Why? You will become part
I like the way
of
this
itself.
music starts to build
The
up now.
Dalek Time Lord hybrid will present itself.
No, you can't. Master, you can't seriously be thinking about letting them do this.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're talking to me. I'm not the master anymore. I'm the mistress. Missy for short.
Okay, whatever you call yourself, you can't let them do it. You know what'll happen. The consequences will cause fractures throughout the whole of time and space. Every event will rupture. Nothing and nobody will be safe.
I know. Isn't it exciting?
Proceed.
Like, the whole episode really is much better
You finally got round to reading the files then?
Yes. Is
produced
there
than
something I
the
can
original
help
ever
you with?
was. And as much as I do love the original,
Photographs of Clara Oswald.
this one
Put
is
them on my
just
desk, please.
superior in pretty much every way.
Are you alright?
To be honest, this
Sorry,
is
why
one
do
of
you
my
keep checking in
favourite
on me?
FAs I've ever made.
Oh, sorry, Connie.
It combines
anyone not to
Doctor Who and Casualty, which are probably my two favourite shows, in a way that I was really, really pleased with at the time. I did it for not just because I wanted to, but
Did
this
the
episode
experiment
originally
succeed?
was released on Casualty's 30th anniversary, so it was more an episode for Casualty than Doctor Who.
What? No, that's not possible. It's the Doctor. How can he not be compatible?
He cannot be compatible because he's not the Doctor.
What do you mean?
Explain. Explain. Alright, keep your dome on. He's not me because he's a hologram. You think I just step out and let you take me? Of course not. So I created a hologram me, close enough to the real thing, a little bit rough around the edges, colouring was off, all done via sonic.
So originally that line was all done via the sonic sunglasses.
One chance, that's all you
And you do see the sunglasses in the original, but because
No.
the TARDIS scene was now filmed on a physical set,
Initiate what?
whereas originally it wasn't, and the glasses were photoshopped onto the Doctor. So I decided against including the glasses, just for practical reasons. So I put a glow in from the sonic screwdriver instead.
Holby below.
And how do you plan to do that? Hey, Power Ranger, I'm talking to you. How can you turn an entire city's population of people into Daleks if they don't exist?
I do not understand, Doctor.
Well, it's not real. Holby's
Not like to
really
toot my own
exist. It
horn
doesn't
or anything,
exist. Come on,
but
just
I think
believe
there's a
it.
lot of really nice
Created
shots in
it
this
alone.
episode.
The city's origin is not the work
Particularly
of
the
us.
Dalek shots, like this one.
Well, it's not.
I think this is where I really started to come into my stride in terms of actual production, which then carried through to Series 5 and is still improving,
It's pretty impressive.
as everything is. But
What would be the point in creating a whole
there are
city?
some nice visuals in this
Oh,
episode, to be
fictional
honest.
one. How did we get here before?
Gotta have a nice flashback in there.
That's it. I created this place. The universe needed rebooting, I was the man for the job. In turn, it created this place.
So when I originally
I have
wrote
one
it,
question. Why Holby?
I realised that obviously
Why this one?
Casualty is obviously fictional, which is something I hadn't addressed in the previous
I
one,
need to warn them.
but it's something I definitely wanted to address in this one. So I blamed it on the Doctor rebooting the universe at the end of Series 3,
Oh, sorry, who are you?
which I've blamed so many things on.
So you did. Sorry, I deleted you.
I think the following story also blames something on it as well. It was just an easy target, to be honest, but I think it works quite nicely. It explains why Casualty suddenly exists, so this universe is almost like, not parallel universe, but just altered.
Excellent. The invasion begins.
And what about me?
You are no longer required. You have fulfilled your purpose, and now you will be exterminated. Exterminate, exterminate, exterminate.
I always quite liked those effects. Not too shabby. This is probably one of my favourite TARDIS materialisations. I really, really like it. Just the way it's shot. The glow on the TARDIS looks really good. Yeah.
Hello again. No time to talk.
Oh, and who's this?
This is Connie, not a Clara replacement. She's just helping out. Probably best not to talk to her for a minute. She's adjusting to the TARDIS.
Okay. How do we stop the Daleks?
Oh, you've changed your tune. 1 minute it's destruction of time and space, and the next is how do we stop them?
Well, you know me.
Yes, I do. That's what worries me.
So, what's happening?
Ah, you're back with us, Beecham. What was it you wanted to talk to me about?
When I killed Clara off in the previous episode, obviously that left a vacancy. And if I was doing Casualty, I needed to have Connie in the TARDIS. I needed to have her act as the companion for this episode.
Oh, that's what I needed to talk to you about. Yes, well, we can all sit down and have tea and cake later. But right now, I feel like there's a Dalek fleet landing on your doorstep, dear. What?
Daleks. Most ruthless killing machines in all of history. A mutant locked inside a tank that'll kill anything that isn't like it.
Well, how do we stop them? I've got patients and staff down there in that hospital.
Yes. Well, this is what we need to work out. Master.
Missy. My name is Missy.
Okay, whatever. When I saw you last, you were sabotaging my past selves, yes?
Yes, so?
So everything. Changing time in any manner of way creates time energy. If you're messing around with my timeline, then you're bound to get some feedback. And a lot of that rejected energy was probably absorbed by the TARDIS when we were on Trenzalore.
Okay. So, where are you going with this, Doctor?
So that's how we stop the Daleks. They want a hybrid. We're gonna give them a hybrid.
Scenes like that TARDIS one, I think,
Charlie,
work quite nicely with the music, because it's music that you wouldn't associate with a scene like that necessarily. But because it's so sort of low and just under all the vocals, it works really well.
Exterminate.
So you're just going to wipe them out?
Yep, pretty much. They wanted their Dalek Time Lord hybrid, and that's exactly what I'm gonna give them. This time, they're getting more than they bargained for.
So we're going to overload their systems and
Same with this music here, it's quite, like it fits really well, and it just complements the scene, you don't notice it so much.
Right then, time to put this plan of action into, well, action. That could have been worded better.
Oh, just land, will you? Watching you try to speak is just painful.
how didn't it kill us?
Shot. Maybe it missed.
They don't seem the sort of things that would take a shot and miss.
Maybe they don't know why either. Maybe that's why they left us.
I don't care why. I'm just happy we're alive. Come on, we need to get out of here.
TARDIS materializing.
Some reused shots from earlier in the episode. There's no point in recording another TARDIS materialization.
Right, Connie, you stay here. When I tell you to, I need you to press this button right here, okay? Missy, you're coming out there with me.
Good. I'd get so bored in here. Might have ended up killing her.
Right, come on. It's showtime. Hello again. Honestly, we can't keep meeting like
I think the score as a whole in this episode
Well, do you remember
is
earlier
much
when
better
I
than the
told you
original.
about that Dalek time hybrid thing?
The original obviously uses all Doctor Who,
Just to think about
really.
it, and you know what?
Um,
I'm up for it.
but this,
Explain yourself.
using the casualty score, I think
Fine with you doing this.
adds a different level
You
to
have
it,
two conditions.
and it does make it feel more like a casualty episode.
You leave Holby, and you don't come back. Number 2, we do it my way. We accept these conditions. Right, good. Now withdraw the Daleks that are already down there. All units, withdraw. Daleks withdrawn. Now, Doctor, how do we proceed? Well, you want the regeneration energy of a Time Lord? Basically make you, well, immortal, indestructible, untouchable. So here's all the regeneration energy that you could ever want, and more. Now, Beecham!
There wasn't really a track from Casualty that I could put over this scene, so I decided to keep the original, which is obviously a good man. I rearranged it slightly, but for the most part it's the same. There's also some new regeneration effects there as well, which obviously look much better than the original sort of yellow glow that I put on it originally.
I've given you energy from every single one of my incarnations. Don't ever think you can play me for a fool, Daleks.
There are aspects of this scene that I wish I had reshot, to be honest, because there's quite a few shots of the Doctor that are out of focus. So this shot's good, that looks quite cool. That one's ever so slightly out of focus.
I'm the one who rescues them, because that's what I do, day in, day out. I am the Doctor, and I save people. So come on, show me what you've got now, eh? Oh, wait. That's nothing. Nothing at all.
That one's out of focus, and that does not look good at all.
Sorry. The Doctor's
But-
got you. This planet is
Well, when I was editing this scene for this remaster, I ended up cutting a lot of the shots of the Doctor in this speech, because like 80% of them were out of focus, and it just didn't look good at all. It looked terrible.
Get in, Missy. Well, that's something I won't be forgetting in a hurry. Well, I'm not sure, really. You might all forget it ever happened. Humans, you'd probably blame it on a dodgy sandwich or something. Or the weather. Or global warming. Oh, they love blaming things on global warming. Oh, that's classic. In all seriousness, though, Doctor, are we going to forget? Yes. Because I'm going to make you. What? I'm going to make you forget everything that happened to you after meeting me today. Why? Because it's better that way. I mean, look what happened to Clara. I took her with me for so long, and now she's dead. Nobody else. No more. I need to see Clara. Come with me.
So obviously, the Doctor
I'll
wipes
wait here, then, I
Connie's
suppose.
mind at the end of this episode, so that she doesn't remember anything before
My Clara.
seeing Clara.
So sorry.
But originally, I'd planned an episode after
Not on my watch.
the finale of Series 5, which would have been a bit of a Twice Upon a Time-ish episode,
Doctor?
with the Doctor and Missy,
Fine.
and it would have seen them return to Holby City briefly,
And everything that happened today.
and the Doctor would
The only
be
thing she will
in
remember is
very obvious pain
Clara.
from regeneration energy,
Still.
and Connie would stop him outside the hospital and ask him if he's
Time to
okay.
grow up, Stop putting people in the firing.
And it was
You
nothing
need to accept this.
like
It wasn't your
monumental,
fault.
but it was a way
Just
of me
remember that,
sort of
okay?
going back, because that would have been my last
So,
episode.
what to
Um,
next?
And it was just a nice little tie-in, because I feel like the Doctor Who Casualty episodes were such a big part of my FA. It was just me paying tribute to that, but obviously she doesn't remember him.
Has it? Have I missed something?
Are you telling me you didn't see?
But obviously
or hear
none of
about
that
the
ever
situation
happened,
in
so
Surrey, or the
it was
robots
written,
that invaded the
but I never
hospital?
made it.
Someone put something in your coffee, Dylan.
I wish. Okay. Well, did you track down that man that Clara Oswald came in with?
What man's that then?
Oh, I don't know. He called himself the Doctor, didn't he?
The Doctor?
Doctor Who.
And then obviously had to put in Doctor Who, because she's had her mind wiped.
He looks familiar.
The Paul Shales, which is the name on the article there, that is a name lifted directly from an episode of Casualty from a newspaper.
Hey, watch what you're doing. Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Connie. How do you know my... Tell Charlie congratulations for me, won't you? Sorry, what? 30 years.
So this scene now is obviously set 4 months later, which would be August 2016. So this reference from the Doctor about keeping your enemies closer, because this, the flashback here, the crash is set in August 2016, so this would have been set almost immediately before it, and it's just a nice little thing that I added in quite late in the day. Originally the episode ended with the Doctor Who scene, but I added the scene in, it must have been in the August, so about a month before release. And there we have it. That was the Dalek invasion of Holby. A few different guest voice actors in here as well, which is quite nice, especially for such a big episode. But yeah, so thank you very much for watching this commentary, and I will see you soon for another one, which will probably be the first of Series 5, I think. So, see you then.